everybody, Michael here. Sorry about the noise. I live right off of a main street, and it's like the only road into town. Kind of why I do all my videos at night. But I wanted to make this really quick video right now, and just talk about experience that I had today. I attended an AA meeting for the very first time. No, I'm not an alcoholic, or I'm not in denial or anything like that. A really good friend of mine just recently relapsed, and they're going through the motions of, they're not going through the motions, but they're going through the steps of getting back on track with recovery and getting their health and everything organized. And they asked me if I wanted to go to a meeting with them, and I said sure. You know, coming from a family that uses both drugs and alcohol, I kind of understand the importance of needing that support system. So I went ahead and I went in there, and I was actually really surprised to see how many teenagers or people under 25 were actually in there. There was this one kid who was in there. He had to have been all of 15 to maybe 18 years old, and he said that he'd been in and out of AA since he was 6. That was kind of disturbing for me, because I can't even imagine a 6-year-old doing drugs and drinking and all that other stuff. But, you know, unfortunately, I'm sure those things happen and they exist, which is the case in his. But he really kind of opened up my eyes, because he said, I do better when I just shut up and listen versus participating and talking. And I was like, wow, you know, that's kind of insightful and kind of deep. And knowing the basic structure and workings of AA and NA, I had some preconceived notions in going into there, and I was pretty spot on with some of the things that I had as preconceived notions. The one thing, though, that I did notice is I was able to clearly pick out who was still using and who actually wasn't going to be using any longer. And having come from the background that I do with drug and alcohol abuse, I think that gives me more of an insight and lets me see people for who they are, and also for dealing with people in a life coach sort of manner in which I do. But it really just kind of opened my eyes and made me realize the struggles that some of these people go through. And I was like, okay, you know, cool, I'm glad that you're here, that you're sober, that you're trying to better yourself. But at the same time, like I said, those people who were just in there working the system and there because they had to be there, I think it's really a disservice and an injustice that's being done to the people who want to be clean. There was this one person who was in there who was very dark and negative and very much an addict, and had that addicted attitude where it's the world's fault, it wasn't his fault or whatever. And I could tell that he was still using, even though he didn't want to admit. And later I found out that he was a habitual person there who constantly fell off the bandwagon, what have you. And I know that drugs and alcohol are an extremely hard thing to kick. I had my own problem with addiction when I was younger, when I first, when my parents divorced, I was about 8 or 9, and I went through some serious traumatic experiences during that time, with my whole family structure being torn apart, me no longer living with my father, being ripped away from my hometown where it was the only thing that I knew, and being put into a large city where instead of only being 5 or 6 people in a classroom, there were 25 to 35 people in a classroom, and not knowing anyone. So I had a lot of traumatic experiences with that, and then having to deal with bullying and everything else. So they started having me see the school counselor, who was a licensed, trained professional psychologist, and they prescribed me Valium, and they gave me 10 milligrams of Valium and handed me a pill bottle, and I was told whenever I feel upset or angry or sad or whatever else that I was to take one of those pills. Well, I didn't have any supervision with that, so I took those pills like frickin' Tic Tacs. And after about, I don't know, a month or 2 of taking them religiously, they cut me off completely and wouldn't give me any more. And I had become addicted to Valium. And going through the detox process for me at 9 or 10 years old, I can't remember which I was when I started taking them, but it was like 9 or 10, because I was only in the 4th or 5th grade. I can understand why people relapse, because the pain that I felt, and the anger and the anguish, and just having to detox all by myself. My mother just threw me in my bedroom and kind of closed the door behind her, and I was in pain, I hurt, and it just worked itself out of me. And after about 2 days of doing that, I didn't have the need or the want for those pills anymore, and I really didn't understand what was going on and what was happening to me at the time. It wasn't until later on in life that I realized I had an addiction and that it was taken away from me, and that's what it was. So I've always kind of used that personal experience to talk to and help other people with addictions and things like that. And so where I wasn't necessarily a user, I was. And it was an unintentional user. And I don't have a very addictive personality, but I do have drug and alcohol abuse on both sides of my family. Both my mother and father were drug users. My mother still is to this day. My father quit doing drugs when I was 13 or 14, but he was still a heavy drinker and hasn't drank now for 7 or 8 years. But for the most part, yeah, it's just one of those things that I have a lot of experience with. And so to be in a meeting and listen to people kind of open up and talk about their personal experiences really gave me insight to their suffering. And so it also helped me to put together tools to help other people. And I really believe that what I do with the blog and my YouTube channel is trying to help people. And one of the topics that they were talking about is service today, and being a service for people. And I really hope that that's what you as my viewer or as my reader take away from my videos is maybe that little personal insight, or just that little key that nudges you in the right direction, that helps you in your life, be it relationship problems, be it mental, psychological problems, be it problems with diabetes, be it whatever you have. And one thing that I'm going to try to start doing is I'm going to try to do a question and answer session to better go one-on-one with people, and to help them and give them life coaching advice. I already do that as kind of like a little side job. I do a lot of life coaching and peer-to-peer coaching, so if that's something that you're interested in, please by all means let me know. Send me an email or comment in the box below, or get a hold of me some way, and just let me know that that's something that you would be interested in. Ask me a question. It could be anything that you want. If I don't know the answer, I'll definitely research it and give you my perspective on it. And if I do a response video, more than likely I will do a response video for you. If I had to do any researching, I will go ahead and put that in the end notes or caption it or something like that. But yeah, that's my service that I want to provide to you, my viewer and my reader. I want you to feel like if you don't have any place else to turn, I want you to be able to turn to me and tell me what is going on. Because a lot of times we feel that people just don't listen to us and that we have nowhere to turn, and that's when thoughts of suicide come in, or we get really depressed or angry, or any number of different things. So this is my hand out to you. I'm reaching out to you. Let me help you be a better you. And I may not always have the right answers, but I can give you my perspective and give you my opinion. And I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to talk down to you. I'm not going to be hypocritical. What you have to ask me, ask me. And if it's valid, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said if it's valid, because any question, comment, or concern that you have is valid. You are a valid person. Your feelings are valid. However, that being said, I will not allow you to use my media, be it the blog or the YouTube channel, as a means to propagate hate speech or disrespectfulness. So if it's a general concern or question or what have you, then yes, I will help you to the best of my ability. I am in no way a licensed psychiatrist or a practitioner. I cannot give medical recommendations. The medical advice, if I give any, is strictly what I have done and what I've found has worked for me. However, my medical advice is not valid and should not be followed without seeking proper medical attention. Again, anything that I happen to say in a video or on my blog is merely observational and opinionated. So I want to stress that I am not a licensed psychologist. I am not a licensed doctor. I don't claim to be one. But anything that I do say is just that it's my opinion and what I have found that has worked for me. So before I start rambling, I'm going to go ahead and cut this video off now. Like I said, please use this opportunity to reach out to me and ask any questions that you may have. You can put it in the comment box below, or you can email me. You can email me at hellocupcake, it's me, @gmail.com. And I do read all my emails, I do read all the comments, and I will post videos accordingly, or I will send you an email depending on what what the question is. If you want to keep it private, then go ahead and put that in the email. Hey, let it just between us. This is what I would like to know. Blah blah blah. Or if you want it public, put it in the comments on the YouTube channel, and then I'll try to make a response video accordingly. So, anyways, I hope you all have had a wonderful week. There's only one more day until Friday, so have a safe and happy weekend, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.